All right. So, last class we talked about how to find missing angles. So that was when we had a triangle like this, right angle triangle. We didn't know what the angle was, but we knew what the two side lengths was, and we used the tan ratio to figure it out. This time we're going to do the other missing information. In this case, there's going to be a missing side, but we will actually know the angle. So we're going to have to use that information and do almost the same thing as last time, just a little bit of rearranging. So the very first thing I want to write is the equation that we're going to be using in every single question. This is the equation you have to use for this whole unit about tan ratios. So tan theta, remember theta just means like an angle, whatever, right? So in the first angle, it's going to be 25. So tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Just to refresh your memory, opposite and adjacent. So if this is the angle we're doing right here, this 25 degrees, the side across from it is the opposite, and the side next to it is the adjacent. It really helps to label those right at the start so that you know. All of our triangles look the same for today, but just as long as you realize that had we done a triangle like this where we had the angle here, this side would be opposite and this side would be adjacent. So just be careful when you're labeling that. All right, so now we have all our triangle labeled and we're gonna actually fill in the equation. Let me just put some numbers in. 10, 8, 7, 12, doesn't matter. All right, so looking at this first triangle here, this one right here, I'm going to take this equation and write it, and I'm going to fill in the numbers I know. So let's write it down right here. Tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. Now I'm going to sub in the numbers I know. Tan theta, instead of theta, I'm going to write the 25 degrees, so 25 is equal to opposite, which is x, I don't know what it is, over adjacent, which is 10 centimeters, whatever it is. Perfect. Now, the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to try and solve. What I think is the easiest is to actually do this on your calculator. No, we'll do that second. So right now, try and think back to last year. We have x divided by 10. I want the next line to just say x. So I need to get rid of the 10. To get rid of the 10, we have to do the opposite. Okay, so right now it's divide by 10, so the opposite of that is multiply it by 10. And we have to multiply both sides by 10. So this is where you have to be very careful. This is going to become x, because the 10s cancel each other out. This is not going to become tan 250. It's not that, okay? It's going to be tan 25, whatever that is, times 10. If you're getting messed up and finding the wrong answers, you can actually do the tan 25 first so that you don't forget. But do not do tan 250. Your calculator will either give you weird answers depending on what actual number you put in, but it won't be accurate for the actual triangle you're doing. So what we're going to do, we have the tan 25 times 10 equals x. Now I just put this in my calculator. So I press on my calculator, tan 25, find out what it is. For me, it was 0.466307, etc., etc. Then I multiply that by 10 times 10. So I got 4.66 approximately is equal to x, and that's my final answer. So when I look back up here, this side length right here is 4.66 centimeters. That's it. We're done the question. Okay. Let's do one more that's very similar. Works the same way. So I'm going to start by writing my formula. Tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. I'm going to label the sides so I know which is which. This is adjacent. This is opposite. So I'm going to sub in the numbers. Tan 32 equals opposite is y, so I'll just leave that as that. Adjacent is 8. I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. So this could be tan 32 times 8 equals y. I'm going to do that. So tan 32 gave me 0.6248 times 8 gave me about 4.998 equals y. So I'm going to round that just to 5. So in my final answer, this side length right here is 5 centimeters. Now, these two types of triangles are actually much harder. They work the same way, but we have to do a couple different steps when we're doing the algebra. You start the same way. Tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. Let's label the sides. This is opposite. This is adjacent. So now, we're just looking at this triangle. So what you're going to notice is when we fill in the numbers, tan 42 degrees is equal to 7 over x. This is going to look weird because what we're going to see is we want to have x by itself. So there's a couple ways you can do it. If you want to just think in your head that you flip it, that you want to just switch these two around, so it becomes x equals 7 over tan 42, that's what it is. If you want to just do that, that's fine. I want to show you what that means and why that's happening. So let's push this down a bit. Okay. What we're going to do is I want to get rid of the x on the bottom. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x. So the x's are going to cancel out, and I'm going to get tan 42 times x equals 7. Now I want to get rid of the tan 42. So I'm going to divide both sides by tan 42. And those are going to cancel out, and I'll just be left with the x over here and the 7 over tan 42 over here. Okay, like I said, if it's easier for you to remember that they're just swapped, that's fine. I like thinking of it one step at a time and showing what's happening, but that's what's going on. Now that we get to this part, it's not that bad. You just have to put this in your calculator. So x equals 7 over, I don't know what tan 42 is. I got to use my calculator. That gave me 0.900. So x equals, I'll actually do the 7 divided by 0.9, and it gives me 7.777 repeating. Okay, so that means that this side length here, 7.777 repeating centimeters. Cool. Let's do one more of those weird ones so you can kind of see what's going on again. We're going to start. Tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Let's label our sides. This side is opposite across from the angle. This side is adjacent next to the angle. We're going to sub in our numbers that we know. Tan 12 is equal to 12 over y. Remember, that was the degrees. This was the side length. Okay. Now I'm going to swap these two. So it's y is equal to 12 divided by tan 12. When I do tan 12 on the calculator, I get 0.213 if we round. So now I'll do the actual division. 12 divided by 0.213. Y equals 56.34 degrees. Sorry, not degrees, centimeters. My bad, because we're finding side length. So when I flip back to this, that means that this side is 56.34 centimeters. One thing I want you to note is that in all of these triangles, I use the exact same picture. They're not to scale. So even though this was 56 kind of weird, it's right because we did all the steps right. So that's how we do these. You start by writing out the formula, subbing in the numbers that you know based on what it gives you. So it gave us like the angles and the side, angle and the side. And then we solve. Remember how to use your algebra by multiplying both sides or by doing the swap if x is on the bottom over here. Okay? Do the practice questions, make sure you understand it. I'll give you one more to check, to practice right now. Okay, so try to figure that one out and make sure you have it written down to show me in class tomorrow. That's it.